scary being an FBI agent?
The letter was left with the bodies. We have 10 letters like it over the past 30 years. And all of them signed with one word. Longlegs.
Welcome to the latest episode of the podcast that wouldn't die. I'm your host, Kevin. With me, as always, is Aaron.
How do?
This week on the podcast, we're going to be discussing the horror new classic, Longlegs, starring Nicolas Cage, Blair Underwood, which was a shocker to me. I'm like, Blair Underwood's in this. Where's he been?
Oh my God, he sold his soul to the fucking devil.
He looks good.
I don't think he's aged since L.A. Law. Why aren't we
not.
seeing him more? Because he is freaking amazing, but clearly sold his soul.
Absolutely. Just like Longlegs, pretty much. Each week on the podcast that wouldn't die, we discuss guilty pleasures and forgotten classics of the horror and sci-fi genres with a comedic twist. Before we start, I need people to understand that I'm playing hurt today. I got a touch of the vid. So from time to time, you're going to hear me probably mute as I wildly cough. So prepare yourself. Sad to say. Aaron, how are you doing?
Well, I currently don't have the vid, but looking back, I think I had the vid all last year because I was just exhausted last year.
Just for the year.
It was just a year-long vid.
The long COVID.
We call it long COVID. Now, my question is, when was the last time that you got a vax? Was it back in the old days?
No, we get the flu and the COVID vax every fall into winter, somewhere around that time. We usually get both every year, like clockwork.
I have not been so diligent. I have not had it.
You're an anti-vaxxer. I get it.
Now I'm an anti-vaxxer, and I have never gotten the flu vaccine. Never in my life.
When I was single, I was, kind of fast and easy when it came to those things. I didn't worry about it. I'm like, whatever. Que sera, sera. But, you get married, you have some kids, then these questions come up. No, my wife is very much like, prevention is worth an ounce of cure, whatever this old saying is. So we make sure we always get those vaccines in. And we have never had any ill effects. Now, does that mean I should be immune? I don't know.
My problem with the COVID vaccine, and I've had 3, is I'm out for a day.
Oh, real?
I have an oppressive headache where literally I take to bed and put a hot pad on my brain that lasts a full day.
That sucks. Yeah. I hear that. I wouldn't do it then. If you knew that's what was coming, then no.
And yet, when I believe I have COVID because I was in Europe during the dark times, and I had run out of COVID tests because I had tested so many times I burned through like 2 boxes. But then I got COVID, as far as I can tell, and I was too afraid to go to a foreign pharmacy and going, "Do you have any COVID tests?"
You think they just grab you, put a bag on you,
grab me, and put me one of those sanatoriums like the English Patient, and not let me go.
With the insane and the lepers, and that would be it.
Especially the lepers. I'll have a leper on either side of me, and when I look, a guy will sneeze and his nose will just fall off.
Just fall right off, because he has leprosy and COVID. That's a bad combo. That's a bad combo. Good Lord.
But I never had a headache during COVID. I was just exhausted. For one day, I didn't even get out of bed. I didn't eat. I didn't get out of bed except to pee.
Right. I mean, I typically don't get sick that often for whatever reason.
Yeah.
But when I do, it's a doozy. It's like you guys are on your own. I can't help you with anything.
I have
In fact, you're gonna have to help me.
Daddy has tuberculosis, so he needs to go to the infirmary, and
basically,
you'll see him again.
Right. God willing. God willing.
Let's
when I announced
prayer circle.
when I told people I had COVID, I was like, in lieu of flowers, send donations to your favorite charities, please.
Yeah, it's Grubhub.
Give us your 30-second synopsis of Longlegs.
Now, when I went to see Longlegs, first of all, I saw Maxine first because I thought
Mm.
I would like that better. I did not.
I haven't seen it
Although my
yet.
cousin liked it. Boy, it's usually the second one that stinks and then they recover with the third. That is not the case.
Oh,
I
okay,
mean,
fair
I'll
enough.
watch it again when it goes to HBO, but there was a lot of miscasting. Bobby
Okay.
Cannavale, I mean, I love him. I would move in with him tomorrow, and I would not give him a baby because that would be a hell on earth. But I would for sure marry him. But for Maxine, no. Mm-mm.
Okay, fair enough.
Terrible.
How about Long
I
Legs?
always like the stories of porn stars that are heading into horror as their big breakthrough versus the other way, horror stars that eventually fall through the floor and go into the porn industry. But anyway, enough of that.
Yep.
I didn't really I did a quick look at Longlegs because I was trying to force people to go with me because I only ever want to see horror movies and none of my friends like horror movies, yet they continue to come with me. And as soon as they said it was going to be like a Silence of
Silence
the
of the Lambs.
Lambs, I was in. I was in. But there was so much buildup. I'm addicted to TikTok. And once you watch one TikTok review of Longlegs, it's unstoppable. That's all you get. The most horrifying movie of the year. No, it was not. No, it was not. Uh it was pretty good though. But anyway, so here it is. Silence of the Lambs, except Jodie Foster is kind of psychic and there appears to be some kind of serial killer that's destroying whole families, and it's been going on for years and years and years and nobody knows. So the FBI sends this brand new agent with eyes like a frightened rabbit, who can just look at a house and go, yeah, the killer dude's right in there. So they give him all these tests, but then at the end, where's the psychic power? What is she falls apart at the end. So I didn't get the end, and I don't know, it's because without giving everything away, I'm going to give everything away. uh because the mom destroyed the doll, so now she sucks. Is that why Blair Underwood was able to annihilate his family right in front of her? The end.
There are a
I
lot
mean,
of questions.
there's a lot of questions, but why did she allow the ending to happen when she knew what was going to happen? Why didn't she walk
Right.
right in there and get rid of that freaking doll? Boom.
I agree. 100%.
So that
Uh,
made zero sense to me. So I was with this film all the way around. I was pretty sure that Nick Cage, Longlegs, was her father, but that was not the case.
Obviously, this is both of our first time seeing this movie. But I mean, this, just like you said, it's like everything that I was reading was like Long Legs. It's, number one with a bullet. It's
Right.
like
It'll
Nick
scar
Cage's.
you until
Yes,
your grave.
right. It's like this happened to me a few years ago on social media with Mandy and Nicolas Cage, where they were like, "You have to go see Nick's
You
back.
don't.
He's doing his thing."
Nick's back.
Yeah, and that was kind of this as well. So I knew nothing about it. I heard some people say that there was kind of Silence of the Lambsy, and I was like, okay, I'll file it away. I'll file it away. And recently, my family signed up for like the AMC A list, where it's like you can see up to 3 movies a week for free. Any, like, if you want to see IMAX, you want to see whatever. There's no upcharge. And I realize this is a total brilliant, because when they say, like, Regal has unlimited, like, you can go as much as you want, so there's no
Right.
like urgency. When you tell me I have 3, I'm like, I can't just leave these out. I gotta hit these 3.
They don't roll
Right?
over?
No. So it's 3 a
See,
week.
at the Maya, they have it, but it rolls over if you don't use it.
No, it's 3 a week, and if you don't lose them, they're gone forever. So
You're like,
that's
just
kind of
throwing money on the ground. Just throwing it on the ground, Kevin.
for real. So my daughter Grace was like, and we were confused when it rolled over. Does it roll over Monday morning? Does it roll over Friday? So Sunday, she goes, I'm hitting a double feature. And she went and saw Maxine and Longlegs back to back.
Boom.
Boom, boom. By herself. By herself.
She's my hero. Did you
For
ever
sure.
know that you're my hero?
So I'm like, okay, I would have gone with
And
you to see these things.
Know? Oh, she didn't
She
want her
didn't.
dad
She
with
didn't
her.
want me to go, and I think I was busy that day. I was doing something that day. So then later that week, Lucy, my youngest, is like, "Hey, why don't we go see Longlegs?" And I'm like,
I thought
"Okay."
Lucy, you couldn't watch scary movies with her. I thought
She's
there was
in.
a lockdown on that. All right, times have changed. Times have changed.
She's in. So
All
we
right.
went and saw it last Friday, like the matinee of Longlegs. And the first time you see Nicolas Cage, you're just like, what the fuck is this? What is happening
Mickey
here?
Rourke after all his plastic surgery.
Yes, that was my note. 100. Yes. My first question is like, why does he have? They put some prosthetics on his face, and I have no idea why. Lucy said she thought he was an old lady when he first appears on the scene with his voice, long, crazy gray hair. Hey,
but that's what happened to these men when they get old and they have a stretchy plastic surgery. They do start looking like women with their old transparent skin.
That's not his real face.
I know, but that's what it looks like.
It's crazy.
Mark that down.
He looks freaking nuts. Now, granted, he is a demonic serial killer of some type, but it was like, what is happening? What is going on? But it was creepy because you just see it's a little girl out in like in her front yard in the snow, and you just see like kind of the torso down of this kind of figure walking up to talk to her. And when he kind of goes down low enough for you to see him, that was like a creepy moment. This movie definitely has creepy moments.
Yes.
Yes. But you're 100%. It's by no means like, like certain movies, there's like just a tension that follows through the entire.
Talk to Me was tense through the whole thing.
This does not have that. This does not have that. It was interesting. Like you said, you're on. Like, I want to find out what the mystery is. How do they solve this? Because
I'm on board. Show me what's going on. I love like procedural FBI 100%. Stuff. So when I heard Silence of the Lamb, I was like, all right, let's go.
Let's do it. So the central premise. The premise is basically there's a serial killer on the loose who sends them like kind of Zodiac style, like murder notes or whatever to the FBI, which they've never been able to decipher. And somehow he convinces like these families, he like invades these families, convinces the father to murder his wife and children and then kill himself. And there's never any like evidence of Longlegs even having been in the house.
No DNA.
That's the mystery.
Yeah. They're trying to figure out. It doesn't seem like he is there at all. Although they don't know who he is, so how the hell do they know?
Right.
You know what
they only know. Right. They only know Longlegs is a thing because of this note. Sign Longlegs. But I mean, if they can't decipher the note, it could just be bizarre gibberish. Right?
It could be. Yeah. The note was written by the Golem.
Totally. So let me ask you this. Did you recognize the main actress?
I did not. I kept looking at her like, she looks so young. Her eyes are so ginormous.
I did not recognize her either. I later went back to kind of look who she is. You know who she is she's the lead in a movie we've done a few years ago.
I did look this up. Me. It Follows.
Oh, It Follows. She's the main character in It Follows. Right. It's funny because it's been a few years.
I love It Follows. So how does she look younger? I have to go back and look at It Follows because that was years ago.
That was a few years ago. Now, well, she was blonde in It Follows, number one, and
Okay.
she's a brunette in this one. And the characters are very different. So maybe the characterization, but it's also the fact that we haven't seen her in anything else in however many years, or at
Because
least I
she
haven't.
looks really young in this, so that's interesting.
Correct.
And I do love It Follows. We need to watch the part 2.
It's still following.
Yes,
It's still
still hopping
following.
along.
Right. Absolutely. Um, so this movie, it's like, I have to say, in some ways, the moment they introduced kind of the supernatural elements, I found myself liking it less.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, because it's Silence of the Lambs. If it was kind of demonic, it's more like an X Files, I guess.
It is.
But you go in believing it's straight. It's like a straight serial killer thing.
Right.
Now, don't get me wrong. I liked it a little bit less, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to like it because it's supernatural.
Right.
I like he's Geppetto, and the little Pinocchios are not so awesome. That was
Right.
very crazy. I was very confused by what happened at the end when the mom shoots the doll and stuff flies out of her and she's free. I'm confused by that because later the mom says that we all have to do what he says or we're all going to hell. So is her daughter now going to hell that she killed the doll?
From what
Why
I
is
understand,
the mom still showing up?
this is the grand reveal. Spoilers are plenty. From what I gathered, and you can correct me if you had a different interpretation. From my understanding is Longlegs comes to these families and basically makes them a choice. Is how I
Longlegs
read.
does not come to the
Well,
families.
at least initially, initially he came to
Initially,
that first.
like, the very first, I guess,
Came to
right?
the first one, and it was a choice of um I can possess you and make you murder your daughter and yourself, or you can be my kind of, I don't know, acolyte, apostle, whatever, and you will do my bidding,
My bidding.
but your daughter will survive. Like, he made the doll, he made the crazy doll like he does. So Longlegs is like a crazy doll maker,
A
right? But he's
satanic doll maker.
a satanic doll maker. And basically, I've got this doll. There's like a little like orb which has something in it. I don't know, who the hell knows, magic demon shit.
Right.
Unclear. Um, your job now is to keep your daughter alive and safe. But they did make the doll, so now she has no memory of this ever happening. That was part of the thing. So I think when the mom destroys her daughter's doll, now it's like all the memories come back. Is what what I think is happening. So now the
But
daughter does remember meeting Longlegs as a child.
so, but did she also lose her psychic power?
I think so. I think the reason she had a little splash of the psychic, because that was confusing as well. At the beginning, when she just uses her powers to be like, "Oh, the serial killer's in there," that's an unrelated case, right?
Right.
That's
Unrelated case.
and that was kind of unclear as well. So that's an unrelated case that she figures out. But using her powers to figure that out, then they recruit her to work on the Longlegs case that they've been stuck on for 20 years or whatever.
Exactly. They did all these psychic tests, and you had to get numbers that the computer was generating, and I don't know. She got a 75.
So the FBI has a psychic test that I'm unaware of. Is that how it works? The FBI, maybe they do. I don't know.
I remember back when I was high school, Duke University used to have a postgraduate program in parapsychology.
What was it like, that scene in the Ghostbusters where it's like they shock you, a couple of wavy lines? Anyway, so it's revealed you knew her mom was nuts the first time we like see her physically in the house.
I was like, mom's seen some things. She may have had a long history of mental illness, substance abuse, sexual trauma, anything. And she lives out in some kind of Okie Ranch hoarder
Well,
house.
and it's a total hoarder house.
Yeah.
And the daughter doesn't react to any of it. Like, she
No,
knows what her mom's up to. She's just like
exactly.
sitting there on the bed with just piles of shit freaking everywhere. So you
And
knew
our
she was
main
nuts.
character is clearly on the spectrum, right?
Seems like it.
Even
Seems
when
like
she's
it.
talking to her mom on the phone, there's really no emotion.
Right. Well,
It-
when Blair Underwood introduces her to his family, her reaction was just bizarre, and like so much so that Blair Underwood's like looking at her like, "What the? What's wrong
yeah,
with you? Just say
yeah.
hello."
Why are you making me be around people? That was it. That's
Right.
basically it. I can't be around people. What am I supposed to do with this situation?
Right. I don't have basic social skills of any
Yeah,
kind.
yeah.
Like, if you talk to me, there's always going to be a moment where I'm like looking at you like deer in a headlight, and then maybe I'll mumble something.
Exactly. And then she was like sitting in his daughter's room for like 3 hours listening to her daughter jib jab about stuff. It was so
Yeah,
bizarre.
that was weird. That was weird. Hang on
Everything
one
was
second.
weird. This young lady is very strange. Her behavior is strange.
Yeah, totally. And other thing I want to say is poor Alicia Witt, who plays the mom, is younger than me and looks like she's 65. And it frankly offends my delicate sensibilities. I don't appreciate that. As the mom, she's sitting there. I'm trying to remember what she was in. She was in Mr. Holland's Opus. Now, that was a few years ago. But as like a student. So she's not that old, for God's sakes. But
My horror
Alicia
is,
Witt.
I know you don't watch 90 Day Fiance, but you should.
I do
Is
not.
Angela is 2 years younger than me, and she looks like she's 75. So I'm a spring chicken.
You're a spring chicken. 100%.
Spring chicken.
So Longlegs, the reveal is that now the FBI agent's mom has been for however many years like the servant of Longlegs. Well, Longlegs makes a crazy doll that looks like, the daughter in the family.
It's like
The
it's a giant American Girl's doll, but it's
Yes.
the size of the crazy Baby Jane doll from whatever happened to Baby Jane.
It would have been scary if it was like a Cabbage Patch doll, don't you think? That would have been
No,
terrifying.
that's too Chucky. That's too Chucky. You want an American Girl's doll that gets up and propels weird thoughts. Something else I was thinking about, remember when they went back to the beginning where there was this farmhouse where there was a massacre like this, and
And this was kind of confusing in retrospect. Go ahead.
Right. They find a doll hidden in the barn, and they take it apart and they cut the ball. The only thing, there was like a metal sphere inside the head that energy is coming out. They cut it open. There's nothing inside of it. But that's when that girl snapped out, correct?
Right. Correct.
There's the lone survivor is a young girl who's been in a mental institution comatose since then. So are we to understand that the girl made the deal?
It's hard to say.
Why would there be anyone alive?
Right. That's the
only
question.
people that survive are the people that agree to make the deal, right?
Well, and she seemed like she was possessed, right? Like it was almost
Longlegs
like
came to visit her, and she committed suicide the next day. But she was like
Right.
obsessed and in love with him at the same time. It was
Right.
weird.
right, which is kind of doesn't. There's no explanation as to why that would be the case.
Right.
It doesn't. That whole thing made no sense. So basically, yeah, Longlegs. There's kind of a creepy moment where Longlegs visits the FBI agent. Like, she sees, like, he's out in the woods outside of her house. Then she goes out to investigate, and you see him in her house, and he leaves her basically a note, which is a key to basically solve the messages that he's been sending. And it's all about go to the old farmhouse for that last murder, and he points her to the doll that somebody hid in the barn. which is directly connected to the other daughter who's in the insane asylum. But you're right. It makes no sense that she would have survived, right? They should have all been killed.
They should have
Unless,
all been killed. Right. Or
I
they should
mean,
all be alive. Because we're assuming,
right.
I think they say that every family's given the choice. But I didn't see Blair Underwood's family being offered any choices.
Well, there is some sort of possession thing that goes on because we actually see it go down in the end. The mom delivers the doll, claiming to be it's a birthday gift from the church.
No, they won something from the church. There was a raffle. And
No,
she's
it's the
dressed as a nun.
birthday. It always is on the birthday for these girls.
Okay. All right.
And it's always if your birthday's on the 14th. The significance of which is never explained. Why does it have to be on the 14th? Who the hell knows? But so when the FBI agent arrives, they're already possessed because Blair Underwood is already kind of acting strangely, and the wife is already everybody's acting strangely. So at that point,
Blair Underwood's super angry, and every time the wife speaks, he's more irritated and rageful.
Well, and he literally says, I'm going to go cut the cake. And she's like, I'll come with you. We'll be right back. And he's like, I'll be right back. So, I mean, his plan, right. And the FBI agent, still on the spectrum, I guess, does nothing about it.
Doesn't stop anything from going on. Why doesn't
No.
she just she moves the daughter away from the doll. Why doesn't she just grab the doll and shoot it right there?
I mean, right. It's like she waits for Blair Underwood to murder his wife. Then she kills Blair Underwood.
Yeah.
And then she shoots her mom. And then the girl's sitting there still kind of in a possessive, trance or whatever's going
and
on.
She's
She's still just
doll. The doll
No.
still exists.
Still chilling. The end. Credits roll. The ending was a little didn't make as much sense as I would have liked. Let's just say that.
This doesn't make any fucking sense. Why would she just sit there and let everything roll out?
She did. She essentially allowed it all to go down. She was front and center. I don't know how you explain this to anybody.
The only thing I can think of is then she's next. She takes over the role as her mom. I don't know. Who takes over the role? The little girl?
There really isn't anything that tells us what the next day will be like. Right? Is this still an issue? Because Longlegs earlier, like a few minutes earlier, killed himself, bashed his head into the table because they finally arrested this weirdo who clearly is a weirdo.
Wanted to be. He's clearly a weirdo and clearly wanted to be arrested. Por qué? I don't know.
Right.
If he's a demon, what does that mean? Is he really dead, or does he just take on some other form?
Well, I don't think. Go ahead.
Well, the fact is, he's supposedly dead, and mom is still making these deliveries.
Yes.
So, I don't think he's dead. He may be the body may be dead, but the possession continues.
See, I didn't think of him as being a demon. I just thought he was like a devil worshiper who was able to tap into some kind of devil worship and shit. But not explained. So who knows? Because he had a real name. What was his name? It was some ridiculous name. I'll look it up later, but I'm not going to look it up right now. He had a real name.
I don't know what he is. He's possessed. He's possessed by a demon. If he's a devil worshiper, I mean, it just stops there. The plan is to just kill everyone.
Well, there were scenes where you'd see like a black figure with like blue eyes, like staring, like sitting in a chair or something like that.
Yeah.
So there was definitely some kind of devil shit going on of some sort. So who the hell knows?
Now they got now I question every time I go to an estate sale, and then there are all these doll parts.
Absolutely, because it's like porcelain head, porcelain hands and feet.
Dude,
and but the body was like fabric or something, like burlap. I don't know what it was.
Yeah.
Something along those lines.
That's normal.
What other
That's normal.
observations? Any
Dude,
other
I
thoughts
mean,
about Longlegs?
with all these films, it's always on a dark, wintry, snowy day. It reminded me of The Ring, where it's just like this oppressive darkness that floats
Mm.
everywhere. And it's a great ride for a long time. And Nick Cage was great. They channeled his insanity perfect. I had
Oh
no
yeah.
complaints about Nick Cage. Um,
Right.
yeah,
Well, there was a
maybe.
thing. There was a thing that was on the internet that people were like, "Is Nicolas Cage a good actor?" Like people were openly saying Nicolas Cage sucks at acting.
Leaving Las
And
Vegas, the most horrific, gut-churning film, but 100%, just like Johnny Depp, it's easier to make crap than to channel that level of darkness. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
I mean,
So it's
after I made Leaving Las Vegas, I would have been depressed for 6 months. I
well,
would have
like
needed psychiatric care.
what was it? Heath Ledger, after playing the Joker, like basically committed suicide.
Because these people get into this where like they want to become this, they really
Right.
channel it,
They
versus
want to
other
live in that
actors
role.
can put it on, take it off. It's like these other people want to live that creature and be in that moment for the whole time. That's got to f you up. I mean, that has to f
Absolutely.
you up. Ugh.
Laurence Olivier said, "Try acting; it's much easier."
Exactly. Thank you, Larry.
He knows. He knows what he's
knows.
talking about.
Dude.
So, but people who know Nick Cage is a good actor. He's a good actor. He just but he also, I think this is also true. He makes interesting / bizarre choices often.
Dude.
Okay,
It's Johnny
and
Depp
that's why we
too.
like him.
It's Johnny Depp too, because Johnny Depp, when he wants to, which he hasn't wanted to in 2 decades, can bring it.
Well, I'll say this: even movies that I didn't like with Johnny Depp, he often undergoes like a full transformation.
Yes.
You know what I mean? He is.
And
I mean,
that
you could
that
argue he's like a
well,
character actor, where it's
yeah.
like he's doing some shit. A
Yeah.
lot of actors, like I was talking to somebody about, like Ryan Reynolds, for example,
Ryan
who
Reynolds,
I
is
who
Ryan
I
Reynolds.
who I typically enjoy, but let's be
Yes.
honest, he is always Ryan Reynolds.
It's the
100%.
Costner situation, except you just like Ryan Reynolds better than you like Costner.
Well, no,
That is it.
I saw this thing where it's like Vince Vaughn, for example. He was in Swingers, and people liked his kind of Swingers persona.
He was
But
great.
for
That was a
5 years,
great movie. Yeah.
but for 5 years, he's like, I'm not doing that. I'm going to do these other things, kind of little drama, independent, which people didn't care for. So after 5 years, he's
He
like,
made
F
bad
it.
choices. I mean,
Very-
Psycho. Come on, what the fuck?
So after that, he's like, F it. I'm going to be Vince Vaughn in everything. And he did that for a few years, and then people got sick of that, and now I don't know what he's doing. That's going to be Ryan Reynolds. So eventually people are going to get sick of the Ryan Reynolds-ness, and then who knows what will happen. So
Yeah, he needs to do like a very dark, disturbing thing while he's Ryan Reynolds.
while he's rolling, totally. Oh God, not to get off on a jag, but it's like somebody made the point. It's like if you look at like Ryan Reynolds' like filmography of the last 20 years, there's so much shit, so much horrible movies, and you're just like, what is I mean, Deadpool movies are great, okay, but it's
great.
like,
And I don't like this shit, but I do enjoy the Deadpool.
but then look at anything else he's done.
Yeah.
Anywho, that being said, anything else about Longlegs?
Well, like I said, it sets a mood, takes you on a ride. The end
Does.
is frustrating. The word I gave to the family was, it's okay to wait for it to get on HBO.
Fair. Yeah, it's good. It's not great.
Don't believe
It
the
has
hype.
well, it is
It's
more
overhyped.
It's not, in my mind, you could argue it's not really a horror movie.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's more of like a police procedural
With
if I had to.
satanic touches.
with a dabbling of Satanism. You know what I
Right.
mean? it's not, there's one scene that's kind of bloody, but other than that, you don't really see much. So it's not like a gore fest. But yeah, it's not that scary, but it was, I argue that it wasn't really trying to be. I think it was just kind of scary adjacent.
Scary adjacent. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's not really a horror movie.
Right.
It's more like you said, it's more like a detective thing. And when I say it's like Silence of the Lamb, it's not as good as Silence of the
No,
Lamb.
not as good as Silence
Because
of the Lambs.
that has so many levels and missteps, and I mean that's a much more complex and better film.
Absolutely.
I saying that I enjoyed this film, but it's not you don't need to rush out to the theater to see it.
Let me ask you this, because this is a bone of contention as well. Is Silence of the Lambs a horror movie?
No, I mean it's a detective movie
That's
that's
what I say.
scary. You know what I mean?
That's
It's a detective movie
right.
that's scary. I mean, serial killers are scary. What
Yeah.
is horror? Does it have to be a monster? I mean, horror does encompass a lot of things. I mean, you would call Hostel a horror movie, right?
Yes, I would. Yes.
What? But if the FBI were investigating what was going on at the hostel, and you had still all the hostel shit going on, is that a detective movie?
I mean, I guess what it comes down to is if your central protagonist is like in law enforcement investigating the crime,
Right.
they always seem kind of safe for the most part,
Right.
right? They're surrounded by 50 cops with guns or whatever. They're
Right.
not in any, generally speaking, they're not in any immediate danger. So therefore, the tension on that aspect is lowered a lot. You know what I mean?
Right. But
Whereas
the
in a horror
people
movie,
they're trying to save, there's always like all these people that are at
right,
risk and
right,
time is running out. That's where the tension
that's
is.
where the tension comes from, right? Which I mean, maybe it's splitting hairs, but what maybe I consider Silence of the Lambs like a thriller versus a horror film. I don't know.
Yeah.
Is there a
Yeah.
difference? Am I
That's
making up
fair.
shit? I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know. What's the
I don't
definition of
know.
a horror film? We'll have to go deep on that.
We got to go deep.
Because it's
Should
not
we go?
just monsters. I
It's
mean,
not
there's
just
human
monsters,
monsters.
right?
So
There's many
what's
definitions to horror.
Psycho? Because there's an investigation.
There is. Absolutely. And a lot of the time in Psycho, no one's in immediate peril.
Right. And when they are in immediate peril, they don't know it.
Right.
You
The
don't know it
audience
till
does.
the last minute a lot
Correct.
of times.
Correct. Shall we go behind the scenes?
Lay it on me.
Longlegs! Despite the praise and acclaim for his portrayal as Longlegs,
I'm like, was
Nicolas
he
Cage
wearing Jordache jeans?
he
What was the
was.
apparel?
Nicolas Cage has stated this will be his first and only portrayal of a serial killer for film. Cage said, I know that the phone's going to be ringing off the hook to play serial killers after Longlegs, and that's not really what I like to do. I don't like violence. I don't like to play people who are hurting people.
What
So,
the is he talking about? I
what he
saw
said.
Mandy.
But he was.
What is he
Yes.
talking about?
I think
don't
he
like
means.
to play people who hurt people. That's all he does.
Well, I mean, I saw Con Air, right? He's killing people. Yes, I think he means he doesn't want to play like
A bad
murderous. Right. I think that's what he's trying to say. Let's not
Of
get
course
carried
not,
away.
because he'd do a really good job and probably be very successful, and we don't want to have that happen. More bad choices, my friend. More bad choices.
Many of Longlegs' encrypted messages contain misspelling and poor grammar after being decoded. This is an homage to the Zodiac Killer, who's also known for his coded messages containing typos, which often made it more difficult to decode his message. I didn't realize that. Did you know that? The Zodiac Killer had misspellings?
I just thought he was a hill folk, and that's why things were misspelled.
Makes sense. Longlegs quotes the poem Satan Says by Sharon Olds in his messages. This poem is about a girl locked in a cedar box being told by Satan that he can get her out if she blasphemes against her family. She does so, but Satan then seals her in the box and leaves her there. That's a horrible poem.
It's a horrible poem, but it's like, Why does everyone want to believe in these movies? Everyone always believes that Satan's my buddy, he's got my back.
Right.
When the evidence of every movie in the whole world is you're gonna get screwed in the end.
Yes.
But not me. It's like Satan is like the bad boyfriend. He's not like that with me.
He's Ike Turner. Is that what you're saying?
He's Ike Turner.
Test audiences praised Nicolas Cage's performance and mentioned that he was so off-putting that it could potentially scare viewers off.
Right.
Boom.
Ridiculous.
Oz Perkins, the director, thought of only 2 actors to play Longlegs: Nicolas Cage and who do you think the other actor was?
Christopher Walken.
Brad Pitt.
Oh, he was already a serial killer. If you want to see Brad Pitt as a serial killer, see California with the K, with crazy Juliette Lewis.
Writer director
was dating when she was like 15 and he was 25. FYI.
Yeah,
Where's
that's
that
a problem.
Me Too?
Let's see what else we got here. Writer and director Osgood Perkins is horror movie royalty. He is the son of Anthony Perkins, the actor best known for playing Norman Bates in Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho, as well as its 3 sequels. There you go. Did you know that?
Did not know that, friend.
The highest grossing live action Nicolas Cage movie since Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance in 2012. Well, that's not saying much. I think that's about it. Good grief. Right. Let's talk about the cast and crew, shall we?
Lay it on me.
Now, I said that the writer-director's Osgood Perkins, or Oz Perkins. He's actually an actor as well. He was in Legally Blonde as one of Reese Witherspoon's classmates. If you saw him, you might recognize him.
I'll have to look that up.
Let's see. He is known for Ryder, the Black Coat's Daughter in 2015. He was the writer of I Am the Pretty Thing That Lives in the Something. That's good. And Lives in the House.
I haven't heard of either one of those.
He was Dorky David in Legally Blonde.
Okay.
He was Jonathan in Secretary. These are both
that.
acting parts that he had. Yes. So there you go.
All right.
Let's see.
He's making it work.
He's making it work. He's doing his thing. Micah Monroe played Agent Lee Harker. What do you think about girls named Lee, L-E-E? I kind of feel like girls, it's L-E-I-G-H.
Well, it sounds like Christopher Lee and Jonathan Harker.
Right.
It sounds very vampire-ish. As far as Lee, I don't give a shit.
Harper Whatever Lee, you want to do, I guess.
Robert E. Lee.
Robert E. Lee. She is known for...
People are just making shit up with kids' names and then wondering why they can't figure out how to spell it.
That is correct. She was known for It Follows in 2014. 10 years ago. She was in Patricia Whitmore in 2016's Independence Day Resurgence.
Never saw that shit.
In 2016, she was Ringer in The Fifth Wave. And in 2014, she was the guest, or she was in the movie The Guest as Anna Peterson.
Never saw that.
So there you go. Nicolas Cage played Longlegs. You know him from such things as Face Off in 1997.
Jesus, so
Leaving Las Vegas, Ben Sanderson in 1995 Academy Award.
Once and I could never watch it again. It was so upsetting.
That's all you need. He was Stanley Goodspeed in The Rock in 1996. And he was in something called Next in 2007.
What do you mean? Not The Wicker Man? You didn't want to bring that up?
I only mentioned the 4 that they mentioned, although The Wicker Man is one of my favorites. Whenever we see a Nicolas Cage movie, I'm going to say Not the Bees at least 5 times.
Not the Bees.
Not the Bees.
Blair Underwood. The new Midsummer better than that. Although I won't turn it away if the Nick Cage Wicker Man shows up.
Oh, it's a delight. It's not a great film, but it is hilarious.
It is very amusing.
Blair Underwood played Agent Carter. You know him from such things as Deep Impact in 1998. He was in Just Cause in 1995, Gattaca in 1997, and Rules of Engagement 2000. It does not mention LA Law, which is bizarre because that was clearly the
So he
thing that
hasn't
put him
worked
on
in
the map.
20 years?
No, he does a lot of things, just
Stuff.
nothing that you've heard of.
I'm just going to tell you, he needs to work more because he was amazing and he looks amazing. I mean, I was like, that's Blair Underwood. What
No,
the
I
hell?
love Blair Underwood. No
He,
question.
he was great. He was absolutely perfect in this role. He was smooth. He was scary when he needed to be scary. I mean, Blair Underwood needs to be working in bigger and better stuff. And he sold
100%.
his soul to Longlegs because he has not aged since the 80s.
He is not. He looks great.
Unfair.
He looks
Unfair.
great, man. He's a handsome devil.
He's a handsome devil.
Alicia Witt played Ruth Harker, the creepy mom. You know her from such things as Dune in 1984. She played Aaliyah in Dune.
I do like the original Dune.
She was in 88 Minutes, the wacky Al Pacino movie in 2007. She was in Last Holiday in 2006.
I did see that.
And she was in Urban Legend. She was like the main character in Urban Legend in 1998.
God, I haven't seen
there
that
you
in
go.
a long time. We should throw
That was
that on the list.
Kind of a Scream. It was inspired by Scream about that same time, trying to cash in on that as well.
Yeah.
I think that's about it. Anybody else we want to talk about? I don't think so.
Not a person, not a soul. Wait, who is the young girl who was possessed? I've seen her in shit.
Yeah,
She's been American Horror Story, maybe.
She's been in a ton of stuff. Her name's Kiernan Shipka. She played Carrie Ann Camera. You know her, if you remember.
I've never met anyone with the last name Camera. That is the fakiest name in the world.
She was in Carriers in 2009, The Black Coat's Daughter in 2015.
I never heard of that.
Totally Killer in 2023.
Well, maybe I'm wrong.
And famously, she was Sally Draper in 89 episodes of Mad Men.
That's where I know her from. I need to rewatch that show. That was a great series.
No, she's doing great. She was also, if I'm remembering this correctly, she was on The New Adventures of Sabrina the Teenage Witch on, I think it was on Netflix for a couple seasons fairly recently. So she's definitely working. She was also, she had a cameo in the new Twisters movie that I saw. No, she's doing well.
That? How was that? Nonsense?
Better than the original. We watched the original as a family just for fun. And we were all like, not much plot. The characters are weak. It's basically people we don't really care about trying to rekindle a romance.
Tornado, yeah.
Right, where it's literally like, oh, we're just going from tornado to tornado. Oh shit, tornado shit's happening. Twisters was deeper than that. There was a lot more going on, more characterization. So I would tell you, Twisters is much better than the original Twister. So there you go.
Well, that's good. They had 20 years to work that out.
There you go. Let's look at the ratings, shall we?
Yes.
Longlegs currently has 85% on Rotten Tomatoes. Do you know what the audience gave it?
78.
61.
Ooh.
Boom goes the dynamite. Now, I want to remind you, Aaron, this does not mean that that everybody thinks that it's an 81% movie. It just means that 81% of the people think it's decent, at least decent, is what it means. Does that make sense? Perhaps not.
Let me ponder that. So, as they poll people, they just say yes or no. Is that what you're saying?
Basically,
good or not good, and then they average that out.
Correct. That's basically what it is.
People say it's a C, at least a C.
80% of the people said it's at least 60%, actually.
Oh,
yeah. Yikes. 80% of the people say it's at least 60%. That's what it means. Now they
So
could all think it's 60%.
65% of the people who rolled out after seeing it, normal people said
61.
61% said,
61% of the
I
people.
guess it's all right.
Right. Well, it all kind of depends. It depends on, because I think you look at the audience score, because oftentimes that gives you an idea of people who are inclined to see this kind of movie.
Right.
How do they feel about it? And I think that's kind of a helpful guide as
Right.
well. But you also get these things where it's like review bombing, where if something is considered too woke, then you'll get like kind of alt-righters kind of like pre-negatively reviewing it before it's even come out. So
the question is,
yes,
for the audience scores, how is that data collected? Is somebody, they're asking people?
No.
Or people have to go in and vote?
These are people
You
who
have
have
to
signed up
take
to Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
And like, like people do with Letterboxd
Yeah.
right now, where it's like you go on to their site and you write in your own score or whatever, your own review.
Interesting. That's shifty. There used to be a time when there were certain reviewers that I liked that were like had my taste, and you would just go see what they had to say. But now it's like everything's sus. Everything's a lie. Yelp is a lie. TripAdvisor's a lie. And now Rotten Tomatoes is very confusing.
It is. I mean, your best bet is like you just said. It's like, I trust this reviewer.
Right.
I'm on the similar wavelength as this reviewer, so I'm going to focus on them. Because Rotten Tomatoes, people are like, it gets a bad rap because people will go and say like, oh shit, this has got a 36 on Rotten Tomatoes. I'm not even going to go see it now.
Right.
I was excited yesterday. Now I'm not going to go see it. So it's like the kiss of death.
Right.
So my advice is always, if it's something you think you might be interested in, I would see it anyway. Roll the dice. You never know.
Go see Maxine because Maxine has like 75.
75 is not bad.
It's no 90. That's right. It's
no
no
90.
89. I mean, good heavens.
No, but what's interesting
89, you're near perfect. Crazy.
Well, like on social media, interestingly enough, the new Deadpool movie, it's like half the people are saying it is perfection. It is God's light shining on us. And the other half is like, this is the worst piece of shit the world has ever known. Don't see it. Burn the theater down. Right. And it's neither of those things. I saw the movie. I said it's good. It's pretty good, bordering on good. Parts were hilarious.
Good, almost good.
No, bordering on good. It's kind of in between. Funny parts that were really funny. Other parts are just kind of like, meh. Nothing. I mean,
Talladega Nights, where there's certain areas that were great, and the rest of it you're just putting up with until there's some fun lines coming up.
That's the Will Ferrell thing. It's like if you see a Will Ferrell movie, I always tell the story that I had the best of Saturday Night Live Will Ferrell, and it's freaking hilarious. The whole thing, every skit he does, you're just laughing and laughing and laughing. So then I went and bought the Best of Will Ferrell Volume 2.
Uh-oh.
Unwatchable. I basically threw it in the trash. Right.
Well,
it's
like
they're like,
of those is they edit them too, so you don't necessarily see the whole skit.
Right. Just the highlights.
That was my anger of the Best of Saturday Night Live Christmas. I'm like, they cut out like half of the shit.
100%. Let's look at the top critic, shall we?
Yes.
Our number one top critic, friend of the show, Rex Reed from The Observer. The worst thing is Nicolas Cage in his most hysterical, unhinged, over-the-top performance since he played Dracula like a vaudeville act. 0 out of 4.
0 out of 4. We gotta watch the Nick Cage Dracula then.
So ridiculous. Rex, come on. Peter Travers.
Second review, 2 sentences.
Peter Travers from ABC News says, when it comes to the high wire acting with no net, Nicolas Cage is a rock star, and the serial killing satanic devil ranks with his bizarro best, even when filmmaker Oz Perkins slides into silliness. No matter, Virtuoso Cage lights the spark and then kaboom. It's like, that's a positive review, I think.
don't even know what that means. I don't
hard to
even know
know.
what that means. Sorry, Peter.
It, sorry, Peter Trevor. Oh,
Sorry, Peter,
God.
but I have a very clear idea what old Rex has to say.
Rex could not be any clearer, clearly. Megan Navarro from Bloody Disgusting says, Longlegs gets under your skin and stays there, immersing
It
you
does
so
not.
thoroughly in the repulsive, discomforting nature of evil through terrifying imagery and a tactile atmosphere that's unshakable. 4.5 out of 5.
That's a ridiculous review. None of that.
What is your review?
I feel like everybody's getting paid by the movie companies. My review is, this is a hard one because, as I said, you should see it. You just don't need to rush to the theater. You're not going to lose anything by waiting and watching it when it gets on HBO Max. So I'm going to give it 3.5 wet kisses from Nick Cage's Longlegs out of 5.
Okay, fair enough. Now, why is he called Longlegs? Not explained.
I don't know.
There's a lot
Maybe
of like,
he has like shrunken old pickup stick legs or something.
could be.
Maybe
There's definitely parts of this movie where it's just like, I don't know, just throw that shit in there.
I wonder if they're trying to play off of like Slenderman.
I thought this movie was pretty good. Like I said, it has moments that are genuinely creepy. I thought a lot of it was interesting. I think it kind of falls apart at the end.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not opposed to supernatural stuff in horror movies. Obviously, there's a lot of that.
Clearly,
right. But I think when I go in thinking it's going to be kind of a police procedural, a Silence of the Lambs-y kind of thing, which is kind of how it presents itself early on. I'm kind of trying to solve the puzzle. Right. You know what I mean? How could this serial killer get this a person to murder their family and then commit suicide? What could possibly incentivize them to do that? And when you go like, oh, it's magic, like Doug Henning, it's magic. Then there's
magic. Yeah.
Then it just kind of takes. It's like, oh shit. Well, then anything's possible at that stage of the game. Doesn't mean it's bad.
It doesn't make sense. Oh, it's because it's magic.
Right. Exactly.
How was he able to do this and this? Well, because it was magic. That's why it's a Band-Aid over any hole in the plot.
Exactly. So it's, again, I would say it's good. I don't think it's great. Okay. I'm going to give it 3.75. Crazy Nicolas Cage's noses. I don't know what was on with his nose. It's like, why did they have him do a crazy nose? Unnecessary. Is it a Geppetto thing? A Pinocchio? I don't know.
I got no strings to hold me down.
So, any last thoughts on Longlegs, Aaron?
I did, but then it jumped out of my brain. I had something great to say, but
well, if it comes back, let me know.
Yeah, I'll call you at midnight.
Please do. Thank you very much. Go visit us across social media. We're on Facebook, we're on X, Blue Sky, Threads, Instagram, TikTok. You may be watching us on YouTube right about now. Ooh. Thank you for that. Ooh la la. You can also email us, the podcast that wouldn't die at Gmail. We are on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere the finer podcasts are available. So don't forget to like, share, rate, and review. Won't you?
Won't you please?
Aaron, what is your social media situation?
I'm on this thing called the Instagram, and I am the cult of Aaron. Join the cult. I am the leader. Thank you. Oh, also, you can check out First Dibs and Artsy, Aaron Doherty. I might still be there. Buy something. Won't you
do yourself a favor? Won't you please do yourself a favor? Now, are there any more photos of your handsome brother still available for purchase? Because that's important.
I'll make sure that I post them on our Instagram.
It's very important.
Thousands of pictures of Kevin.
This is important, for God's sakes. As you know, we like to include comments, questions from our friends across the interwebs. So let's take a look. Talking about, I don't know what movie this is, Aaron. because you cut it out. Oh, God help us all.
Let me look.
Aaron sent me something, and I'm not sure how to. Okay, I think this is maybe Event Horizon.
It's Event Horizon and then the Forbidden Zone
Okay, talking about
on the ground.
we're a high tech show, ladies and gentlemen. Talking about Event Horizon. Our friends over at the Talk Nerdy to Me show say brilliant. To which I say thank you very much. I appreciate your support. And then talking about our episode, oh God help us, of the Forbidden Zone. 2 reviews, actually.
Yes.
Cinema Mac says, love this effing movie. And House of Frankenstein 87, crying, smiling emoji. To which I say, you guys are out of your GD minds. That movie is awful and horrendous.
I say, Pico and Sepulveda. No, what I say is you need a projector. Next time you have a house party, you get a projector. You just project this film against the blank wall while the party goes on. Perfect.
And then you just leave the party. That's how you sabotage a party. You do that. You come in with a projector and just leave. Put it up, and that's deuces.
Oh,
sweet Jesus.
The images are unsettling.
Are upsetting, to say the least. Next week, we are doing what may be the first legacy sequel of all time. A legacy sequel is when it's a sequel released like frickin' decades after the original. Psycho 2!
Wait,
Listen to
I
this.
thought you said we're watching Psycho. We're watching Psycho 2?
Psycho 2. You got to read the fine print.
Oy,
Psycho 2. Norman Bates is declared sane and released from the facility from which he was held, despite the complaints of Lila Loomis, sister of his most famous victim. Is he really cured, or will he kill again? So that's the question.
Well,
Psycho was released. Psycho was released in 1960. This came out in 1983 to cash in on the slasher boom of the early 80s. How can you watch this? Well, if you subscribe to Indie Flicks, it's free.
And if you don't?
It's available pretty much everywhere else for a nominal fee. Wah. So check that out. Send in your favorite scenes, favorite quotes, questions, and comments, and we may just talk about it on the show. So thank you very much, and be well.
I have one last thing to say.
Please.
Recently, something popped up on my screen, and it was the 1933 version of Alice in Wonderland, which I remember seeing as a child.
Okay.
The most disturbing, it's a live action.
Yes.
It is so disturbing. The mock turtle has a big cow head and he's crying the whole time with just tears. All the characters are monsters. Cary Grant is in it and another famous dude. But I have to tell you, the one thing that I totally remember from this is when they play croquet, they are using real flamingos. So you see Alice holding a flamingo and trying to swing its head at the ball while it's kicking and trying to be free. It is bizarre.
It was a wild time back then.
It was a wild time in the 30s, but Halloween costumes, go back and look at that. Tweedledee and Tweedledum, disturbing. W.C. Fields plays Humpty Dumpty. It was all creepy and weird. So just throw.
I always forget how old.
$4.99 on Amazon.
For the old ass version of Alice in Wonderland, hard pass.
Yes. The Disney version I think was free, but luckily I had some Amazon credits, so only paid $1.
Well, thank you for that little bizarre bird walk. Bye.
Bird walk.